Why is rhythm essential to every piano player's practice? I'm Cynthia from Cynthia Ali Studios, a place where you can learn and find your joy in music. In the last episode, we discussed the importance of intervals in music. If you missed it, be sure to check out Season 3, Episode 3. Want to dive deeper into intervals? Let's apply what we've learned. Today, we're going to take a look at rhythm in music, what beats are, how to track them, and how they appear on the page as notes and rests. We'll also explore creative ways to remember rhythms, like associating them with words. Rhythm is all about time. It's the pattern of sounds and silences in music, driven by beats, the steady pulse as you feel when you play. Every piece of music is built on beats, and knowing how to track them helps you maintain steady time. I often think of it like your own heartbeat and how you have a pulse. Music is alive and also has its own pulse that we can keep track of when we're playing. One great tool for keeping track of beats is a metronome. If you haven't checked out the episode on how to use a metronome, be sure to listen to Season 1, Episode 12, and there you will find helpful hints on how to use your metronome. As I was preparing for this podcast today, I noticed how rhythms show up in everyday life. I was looking outside my window, and I live in Minnesota, so it's that time of the year when the icicles form and the snow is melting from the roof. And today, I noticed that the water droplets were coming down like this in a rhythm. So one icicle was going. And then there were other icicles joining in. Another one was dripping at a different rhythm. And there was even another one. So you can see how even everyday rhythms like the icicle melting in the sunlight can turn into a song, where you hear that steady quarter note beat along with some eighth notes and some 16ths. And then if there's a pause between the dripping, you could even have a half note, or you could have a whole note. So I was thinking that really inspires me. I might want to write a piece called The Icicles. Let's begin by looking at some basic note values and how they visually appear on the page. It may seem a bit technical, but hang in there. Soon, I'll be sharing some fun and creative ways to apply this to rhythm. Let's first look at the whole note. The whole note is a hollow circle that looks like an egg but has no stem, and this note lasts for 4 beats. So you will need to memorize the rhythm symbols in order to play the rhythm in your music. So with a metronome, you could put your metronome on, you could practice the whole note. You're going to want to hear 4 beats every time you hold that note. So first listen, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's how long the note would be. I'll play on the piano, and I listen for 4 beats. So one more time, you can count with me. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that is a whole note. That's how we keep track of the beat. Then I'm going to go through a couple other ones. The next one is a half note. The half note is also a circle, just like the whole note. However, it has a stem. The stem can be on the right side or it could be on the left side going down. This one lasts for 2 beats. So again, with the metronome, we'd have to count 2 beats. 1, 2, and there is your half note. So I'll play it on the piano. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So that would be keeping track of the half note. Now moving to the quarter note, which is just 1 beat. The quarter note is a solid black circle with a stem. The stem could be on the right side going up or on the left side going down. This one lasts for 1 beat. So we're going to listen to the metronome, get the beat going. And the quarter note will go along with each beat. 1, 1, 1, 1. Now let's talk about the 8th note. The 8th note is a solid black circle with a stem. Also, just like the quarter note, except this has a flag that comes from the top, a little squiggly line that goes on the top of the stem. And this one gets half a beat, so we need to put 2 8th notes in that 1 beat. You can count that one like 1 and 1 and 1 and 1 and, because you're dividing it in half. So that one would sound like this. Here's the metronome getting our beat going. 1 and 1 and 1 and 1 and. And now let's play it with the piano. 1 and 1 and 1 and 1 and 1 and 1 and. So for every beat, you would have 2 of those notes. Another note is the 16th note. This looks just like the 8th note, except it has 2 flags. 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a. This one is a 4th of a beat. So 4 of these notes fit into 1 beat. The way that we count for a 16th note is 1E and a. These 4 have to fit into that 1 beat. So if I do the metronome on 1 beat, I'm going to say, to fit them in, my counting is 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a. So for that one, I counted out 4 times, and on the piano, it would sound like this. 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a. So those are the basic symbols for note reading. But let's not forget about those dotted notes. If you see a note, like a half note or a quarter note that has a dot to the side, those are called dotted notes. That means you take their value, so like a quarter note would be 1 beat, and then you add half of that to it. So it'd be 1 plus half equals 1.5. So that one you would keep hold of for 1.5 beats. And then a dotted half note will last for 3 beats because you take the value of that note, plus half of that, which is 1, and you get 3 beats. Some people, when they first start playing piano, they get the dotted note dot confused with the staccato. The staccato symbol is also a dot. Now let me tell you the difference. The dotted dot is to the right of the note, and the staccato is either on the top or the bottom of the note. That's how you can differentiate. All right, now we're going to talk a bit about rests. Rests and silence are just as important as the sounds of music, so we don't want to forget to do the rests when we see them. The first rest that I'm going to talk about is the whole rest. This is a solid black rectangle, and it hangs from the second line. So if you count from the top of the staff, it's the second line, and this one lasts for 4 beats. The second rest we'll talk about is the half rest. This also is a solid black rectangle, and this one sits on top of the middle line. This one lasts for 2 beats. In a piece, when the composer would like you to rest for 1 beat only, that is the quarter rest. And this one is a squiggly line. If you draw it out, the top of it looks like a diagonal Z, and then underneath is a C. So you'll see that often while you're playing. And the 8th rest, the one that gets half a beat, looks like a 7, but has a little dot at the beginning of the top line. This one only lasts for half a beat, so it matches the 8th note. And then finally, the 16th rest looks just like the 8th rest, except it has 2 lines for the top of the 7 with a little dot. So you're going to see 2 lines with a diagonal line, and that is your 16th rest, which only gets a 1/4 of a beat. And for these two, we don't want to forget the dotted rest. It has the same principle as the dotted notes. You're just going to add a dot behind the rest, and then that will clue you in that it is a dotted rest, meaning full value plus half of the value, and that's how long you want to hold it. Alright, so this is where the fun begins. Sometimes it helps us to remember rhythms by using words that we already know. So just as music has rhythms, so do words. We don't often think about how our language and the way we speak has a rhythm. And I'm going to explain this to you by first giving you 2 examples. So if I would say this sentence, I'm going to the coffee shop with my friend this afternoon, that would be with a rhythm and expression, right? So what about if I took the rhythm out? I would say, I am going to the store with my friend to drink coffee today. Super boring and monotonous. So you'll see how those rhythms in our language also transfer over into the musical language, where we have rhythms to all those notes that we were just talking about, and the silences and the rests, all that comes into play with music. And as we know, music is also a language. Alright, now we're going to compare learning musical notes to words that you would use if you were at a coffee shop. So to explain the whole note and to help you remember, you could use the word brew, or you could use the word steam. Like, those are long words, and you hold those out if you were saying, I'm going to brew some coffee. So that would be longer. So if you see a whole note and you can't remember how long it's supposed to be, you can just say to yourself, brew, and then it could be 4 beats underneath. All right, then the next one you could try would be cream and sugar. So when you say cream, that's a bit longer, and is like a 1/4 note, and sugar is like 2 1/8 notes. So it would sound like this: cream and sugar. So along with the metronome, I'm going to slow it down a little bit so you can hear it better. Cream is going to be 2 beats. Cream and sugar. So that's a 1/2 note, 1/4, and 2 1/8. Cream and sugar. I think it's fun to see how words have rhythms too. And it's a great tool to help you with your rhythm if you're getting confused while you're practicing. Now, 2 1/4 notes. That comes up a lot. So what are some words that would help you remember 1/4 notes? Here are some that I thought of. Coffee, hot tea, mocha. Straightforward, 2 each. So let's try that with a metronome. 1, 2. Coffee, hot tea, mocha. Alright, so that's really an easy one. And then music also, we didn't talk about this before, but another thing in music is the triplet, where you have to get 3 notes into 1 beat. The triplet sounds like this. Triplet, 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 triplet. So there's 3 per beat. And the words I came up with a few for that too, have vanilla, raspberry, and espresso. So that would sound like this. Vanilla, vanilla. So you get all 3 of those in the beat, or raspberry, raspberry, or espresso, espresso. Now, if you want to try some of these on your own, I have created a rhythm guide for you. You can find this in the show notes. You can click on the link, and it'll take you where you can find the guide for these rhythms, and I have them written out with the notes and then the words underneath to help you. You could use it at the side of your music if you're having trouble with some rhythm. Like if you have a lot of triplets and you can't get it, you could look on that sheet and say, oh, vanilla, I can use that if you like that one, or raspberry, whatever word that you want. And you could come up with some ideas on your own. Okay, then the next one is 4 eighth notes. This one is honey lemon. So this would sound like this. We want to get 2 in every beat. Honey lemon. So we're dividing that up into those 2 beats. Now the 16th notes are the ones that I told you are 1E and a 2E and a, if you count them. You could also use the word cappuccino, cappuccino, cappuccino. So the way that sounds is like this. Cappuccino, cappuccino, cappuccino. So that goes pretty quickly. And then the last one I'm going to show you is double shot. So 2 eighth notes and a quarter. Double shot, double shot. Anyways, those are fun. I like doing that. Often I have students that cannot get a rhythm. So for example, for fanfare and minuet, it starts out like this. And I had a student that wasn't able to get that rhythm, so we came up with a saying, cheese, ravioli, fix the problem just like that. Now everything sounds great. Using this approach to rhythm, you can be super creative and help you with those hard passages in your music. Now that you've learned the basic of rhythm, notes, and rests, and you've seen how fun rhythms can be when paired with everyday words, start practicing with a metronome. In the next episode, we'll explore more about tempo and meter and how they control the speed and feel of music. Don't forget, you can grab a free rhythm guide with these coffee-inspired rhythms. Just sign up to receive it in your inbox. It's a fun way to practice rhythms with words while boosting your musical timing. You can find the link in the show notes. And also, don't forget to download your free piano journal at CynthiaAliStudios.com/piano community. It's the perfect tool for tracking your practice and monitoring your progress. Don't miss out on our upcoming events. The Elise workshop is March 22nd. The 4-week adult group beginner class starts on March 4th, and you can find all of these opportunities if you visit CynthiaAliStudios.com/piano community, and there will be more details on these exciting opportunities. Until next time, keep practicing the piano and enjoying music.